Hi, welcome to Chicago Green Drinks, December 2009. We are here with Kate Eyler-Werve, who is a senior strategist with Saatchi and Saatchi S. Kate, welcome to Green Drinks.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what you do at Saatchi and Saatchi S.
Well, as a senior strategist, I manage accounts with clients. So when a client comes to us and says, we want to drive sustainability throughout our organization, we want everybody at every level to be able to participate, then I work with them to help design a project that will allow them to educate and activate employees all across the board.
Got it. So Saatchi and Saatchi S is really about taking, it's not just about sustainability strategy, but it's really about how do you get sustainability permeated through an entire large organization potentially.
Absolutely. A lot of companies make the mistake of having a very small green team that's sort of hived off. And they may be very passionate and dedicated, but at the end of the day, a lot of the time, the decisions on the ground that have to be made by people at all levels of the firm have to be green in order for the entire company to go in that direction.
Interesting. How did you get to your current position? What was your background, and how did you get connected with Saatchi and Saatchi S?
I'm a business school dropout. I used to.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It worked out great. I used to be an outdoor educator. I worked with young people who were at risk. We spent a lot of time in the woods. I showed them what you can eat that grows outside. We spent a lot of time talking about the planet. And it turns out that holding the attention of a bunch of kids who maybe don't really want to be outside is actually very similar to working with pretty much anybody in any kind of office situation. So I wound up going to Saatchi and Saatchi S to start with their Walmart engagement project. So we worked with 1.3 million people all across the United States, getting them excited and energized about sustainability.
Wow.
I didn't actually show most of them what they could eat outside, though.
That comes next time. What kind of stuff do you, I mean, with regard to, you were with Saatchi and Saatchi S before it was Saatchi and Saatchi S. It was founded by a well-known environmentalist.
Adam Werve. He was the youngest all-time president of the Sierra Club at 23, and we were Act Now Productions back then.
Right, and so Adam started this consulting company. Lots of sort of, when he took on Walmart as a client, this former well-known environmentalist taking on sort of one of the sort of perceived biggest and baddest anti-sustainability companies in the world, perhaps. A lot of interesting turbulence. Yeah,
I don't think he had a very easy time of it. I know that all of us in the team, we'd go out, and of course, Act Now is based in San Francisco. So you'd just be hanging out with folks. They'd ask you what you do, and you'd say, oh, I work in sustainability. And they'd say, oh, how fascinating, with who? And you'd say Walmart, and then just the whole lid would get blown off, and it would get very challenging. So yes, Adam really had a lot to contend with. I think he's handled it really well, and I don't know, the company is, he's definitely led us to some really interesting places.
Cool. So the company's grown, was bought out by Saatchi and Saatchi S, is now part of this large media conglomerate, advertising conglomerate.
Right.
Which is interesting in and of itself. Working with Walmart, other kind of clients you work with?
We work with mostly Fortune 500 companies, so Frito-Lay, consumer packaged goods, those kinds of companies. We also work with WellPoint, Anthem, so that's call centers, people who work in that kind of environment. Of course, Walmart retail, we do have some other retail clients. We have a couple of energy clients, and then we're sort of inching into professional services as well. So my most recent client was actually a law firm.
Cool, interesting. So the environment's really changing for the kind of consulting work as the sustainability environment's changing.
Oh, absolutely. And by and large, most of the companies that come to us, they really tend to be much larger. If you're a pretty small company, it's relatively easy to get everybody on board with what you're doing. And what we really specialize in is, you've got this massive company that covers lots of ground, lots of countries. And how do you get people all over, from the bottom all the way up, to care about what you're doing?
Right. Is there one thing that you studied or learned before you started with this work that has sort of served you well?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I spent a couple of years actually working in public relations in Washington, D.C. Did some astroturfing campaign. That's one of the campaigns that's So
astroturfing is?
That's a term that's really caught on in the news lately. It's where a company will fund a fake grassroots movement to support a cause. So that's not especially pleasant work to do when you're doing it, but it's very handy when you're trying to learn the tricks of the trade to create a real grassroots movement. So between that and education, both with young folks and all the way up into older people, those two things have actually just been really valuable for this kind of work.
Cool. What do you like best about your job?
I work with some of the most fascinating people. It's so gratifying to go out and meet folks who never really put any thought into sustainability. And you ask them to talk about what they really like to do, which is something that most of you don't really get to talk about at work. And they sort of find these new ways into how they can make their professional lives more fulfilling. Almost every single client I've ever worked with, in the aftermath of working with us, they've created positions within their company that allow their people to focus on sustainability. And so there's a number of people who, because of the work we've done, have found these very fulfilling career paths, and that's very gratifying.
Great, so you're really seeing tangible change.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. Any advice for people who want to pursue a career in sustainability, something we're going to talk about a little later on the panel discussion?
I would really say that the best thing to do is to take a job that you're already doing or a job that you just think would be interesting and then do everything you can to make it more sustainable.
So start with where you are.
Start with where you are.
Don't think it's something above and beyond that you need something special for.
No.
Excellent. Great. Kate, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.